Weiss, little doll, who is the greatest Ruby analyzer of them all?
Not you.
How could this happen to me?
Hey, everybody out there! In YouTube land, Jake of the OneManBand is back again, bringing you guys another RWBY character breakdown. That was it. I almost said in-depth look. This is not an in-depth look. This is a breakdown, because we're breaking down what we already know. So, as part of the course of me breaking down the main team of RWBY itself, the next character of our agenda is the honor-bound heiress, Weiss Schnee. Now, Weiss's style of combat is actually probably one of the coolest, in my opinion. It isn't something that uses an impractical weapon, if you will, or uses a lot of energy or using a lot of flip-de-doos. It's really straightforward and basic. Her sense of style is fencing. Little known fact that Monty himself studied fencing, and that was one of the reasons why Weiss's fight style is fencing itself. Now, in the fencing style, a opponent faces one singular other opponent, which means Weiss is a very singular-based combat player. She, is used to fighting one-on-one with one enemy. She has had multiple occasions where she's taken on multiple enemies and has hit multiple enemies in strikes, but as we saw with Weiss's first encounter of a Grim creature in the series, she was going to attack one Beowulf, even though she was surrounded by a whole pack. Now, it's due to her fencing style that she's able to take on big and powerful enemies, because she can singly handle one. She can concentrate on one big enemy. And with the weapon that she has, the multi-action dust rapier, Mertensener, it is really just, it's supposed to be straightforward, where there's a lot of thrusting, stabbing, not so much slashing. It's very, very stylized to be jabbed and stabbed rather than slashed or even cleaved. Now, this could actually work in her favor due to the fact that she would only fight single opponents. She could find a Grim creature's weak points and exploit it, maybe stabbing it in its joints to help impede its mobility. But of course, Weiss's real power comes from her power of her semblance, her glyphs, where she can amplify the dust that is stationed in her rapier to help create devastating attacks using elemental power, such as ice, fire, explosive damage, electricity, even distorting time at some point, where she boosts the speed of her allies. Weiss is very much the mage/support character of Team RWBY, really there to help put in devastating attacks to the enemy and to boost her allies' mobility and attack power. But when she's in a fight one-on-one, she's actually quite good. She's agile, she's able to evade enemy attacks, she's able to form shields with her glyphs, and with her rapier, she's able to take on many different types of Grim. Now, out of all the members of Team RWBY, her dust power is the most strong. That is where all her power comes from, is the strength in her manipulation of dust with her glyphs. And even though she's pretty agile and pretty speedy, I believe her durability and her strength are in the laxing. I mean, she is the only person in RWBY so far who we have seen have a physical wound when she was able to use her aura. I know Jean was scratched in the face in the Emerald Forest, but he didn't even know how to use his aura then. in her fight with the giant iron golem during the white trailer, she is physically hurt even after tanking a few giant blows. That is where she gets the scar on her face. And as for stamina, we have seen that she's able to deal out lots of attacks and do lots of glyphs. But the bigger the glyphs, the more strain it puts probably on her body and her aura as a whole, which means she probably can't last long in a fight without A, resting a little bit, or B, only using small glyphs. That's probably the only way she would be able to last long in prolonged combat, is if barely using any glyphs or using small ones, or resting from time to time. Now, when it came to Volume 1 for Weiss, everybody pretty much knew what her personality was. She was the stuck-up elite bitch of the group. Come on, we all admit it. she was all kind of like that. Volume 1 Weiss was kind of hard to like. I mean, she didn't really want to make friends with the lovable RWBY. She didn't see RWBY as leadership material. She wanted herself to be the leader due to the fact that she was probably handed everything she wanted on a silver plate as a young child due to the Heiress status. And she had a severe dislike of FAUNUS. But to her defense, the FAUNUS of the White Fang, that is, made her life pretty much a living hell due to the fact that they attacked her father's company, executing board members, stealing trains. Her father would come home furious, and as she said,
and that made for a very difficult childhood.
In that sense, it does seem a bit justified. Her dislike of FAUNUS is justified in some way, but then again, discrimination and racism just isn't all that cool. But one of the big key things about Weiss in Volume 1 that at least I picked up on is her wish to be perfect. This is stated twice. When she is talking with Pyrrha and then goes into her little plan motion with the lightning storms in the background, and she's got the evil look on her face. She's like, we'll be the perfect team and we'll get perfect grades. And then later, when she states to RWBY that she is not perfect, quote, not yet. Now, will this come up later in the volumes where she has a driving need to be perfect? Or has she kind of abandoned that to just accept the fact that she wants to be a certain way and liked by her teammates, therefore she isn't going to try to be perfect because perfect is unobtainable, if that makes any sense. But where Weiss truly comes into redemption is Volume 2. And Volume 2 Weiss is oodles of more fun than Volume 1 Weiss. I'm telling you, when Volume 2 Weiss came in, I instantly fell in love with the character. I was all like, oh my gosh, Weiss is so much likable now. I love Weiss. Now, in Volume 2, she's more of a team player, and this we can see when she battles with her teammates. She's no longer, eyeing RWBY or doubting RWBY in any way. She's just going with the flow and doing what is right. She is a very powerful team player now due to the fact that she now has support and people to buff her. She no longer has to be the solo person in combat. She can now buffer other people or combine their attacks to create devastating dust attacks. In Volume 2, her dislike of the FAUNUS has definitely died down, even though she still kind of sees them in a bad way. Like Sun, she still sees him as a ne'er-do-well and stuff like that. But when it comes to Blake, she at least gives Blake a chance, and we saw that at the end of Volume 1, how she came to terms with Blake being a FAUNUS, and she was just like, I don't care if you were part of the White Fang because we're teammates now, and we're best of friends. So her position with the FAUNUS is definitely better, though it isn't completely mended. She's still a bit of a perfectionist, that's true, but that's fine. Being a perfectionist isn't a bad thing in my eyes. It could get annoying at some cases, especially with me. I am a perfectionist to the T, but in the end, I don't think it's a bad thing, and I think it actually adds to her character more. We can see that she likes to have things in a certain way, have them be perfect, and have them work out as planned. That would probably come in very well if she was to take up some form of tactician scenario, maybe with RWBY, you know, drawing up plans and doing stuff like that. Although when we did see when Team RWBY was playing the board game, Battle of Remnant, I think it was. Remnant Risk is pretty much what it is. Even though she didn't understand, she didn't understand the game, and I think if she would have understood the game, then she probably would have been the one to come out victorious, not Yang. But we do see some very good character development with Weiss in Volume 2. We see that she has a interest in Neptune, you know, a romantic interest, you know, he's tall, he's suave, he has blue freaking hair. What's not to like about him? And she takes an instant liking to him. Now, even though he doesn't really share the affection automatically, she still kind of goes off and tries to, you know, be something with him. And who knows, maybe they'll turn up to be a couple later on in the later volumes. Not only do we see that she has romantic tendencies, but she also has family issues, especially with her father and her sister. When she goes to the CCT and she wishes to contact Schnee headquarters, she refuses to speak with her father and her sister. Now, does this mean that there's bad blood between the three of them? Quite possibly, because think of it this way. Weiss herself is an heiress of the Schnee Dust Company. Now, wouldn't you think an heiress would want to stay with the company because she's probably going to take it over in the future? Why did she go off to be a huntress? Why is she doing all these things? It's because she wishes to restore her family's honor. As we know, the Schnee Dust Company has been, you know, they've been pointed at and accused of being, you know, shady, with like shady partners and forced labor, especially FAUNUS. And, you know, the White Fang have it in for them too. So her company, her family's company, she almost really doesn't want to be attached to it because she doesn't want to be profiled as just another Schnee. She wishes to become a huntress, someone who fights for the people, someone who is honorable, and someone who, when people look at her, will say she is not one of those dirty Schnee corporate types. She is Weiss Schnee, the one who goes out and kills grim creatures to protect people. And once that happens, once she's formed a reputation for herself as a huntress, maybe then she'll finally go and take back over being the head of the Schnee Dust Company, returning honor to her family. Weiss is definitely one of the characters in Volume 2 and in Volume 1 who probably has the most steady of character development, as they grow as a character, they develop as a character, and we learn more about them as the story goes along. Now, it's my personal opinion on this note, but as of right now, Weiss is the most interesting character in Team RWBY for me.
Finally, some recognition.
Just due to the fact on how she's grown and the mystery that surrounds her. I mean, I want to know what's going on with her family. What's going on there? I want to know, you know, what about Neptune? Is that ever going to turn out to be a thing? And, you know, all this stuff about the White Fang. Does she hold a grudge against them in some way? She just seems like to me, the most interesting character to think about thus far. Some other key facts that I think are very important about Weiss are that it is stated that in Volume 1 that she always wanted bunk beds. She says that to RWBY. Now, as we know, Weiss has a sister, so the possibility of bunk beds was definitely there, but it never happened. Which means that she was probably brought up in a very strict household where each girl got their own rooms. And, you know, they weren't able to, like, sleep in the same room together, or maybe it goes into once again, how she has a beef with her sister. Maybe her sister kind of rejected her in some way and never wanted her to sleep in the same room as her or anything like that. Once again, adding a little more to the Weiss mystery. We do see that she has a rebellious side due to the fact that she pretty much left her heiress status to go to be a huntress, and how she kind of, you know, she doesn't put her ponytail in the bun in the center of her hair. She does it on the sides. That kind of shows I'm going against the system. I'm putting it on the side of my head. I'm awesome like that. I'm a rebel, you know, stuff like that. And another one of the key factors of Weiss is that she can actually sing. She is the only member of Team RWBY who has been confirmed to have a good singing voice. Not only does she have a concert during the white trailer, but Jean himself states that she can sing. Now, even though it was Casey Lee Williams who sung the lyrics to Mirror Mirror and not Kara, does that mean that Weiss's singing voice is always going to be Casey Lee Williams? I would think so. And does this mean that Weiss is probably going to have a concert at some point in the show, in the series, you know, where she actually sings and does something? I think it'd be really cool to see that. Maybe she's at a concert while the rest of her team is like infiltrating somewhere, and like she's kind of being the distraction, you know, making everybody pay attention to her as they sneak in to do something. I just think that would be freaking awesome. To round it all up, Weiss Schnee is one of the most dynamic characters so far in RWBY. Due to the fact that she's had great character development, we've learned a lot about her. She's gone from being probably one of the least favorited characters to one of the most favorited characters in just 2 volumes, and due to the fact that with the upcoming volume, lots and lots of questions are probably going to be answered about her family with the arrival of Winter Schnee. So, what will be next in line? What will be in store for our honor-bound heiress? Well, only Volume 3 will tell. Hey everybody, once again, end of the video. This is gonna be going into the end slate, so I hope that you enjoyed watching this character breakdown of Weiss. I enjoyed making it. It was super fun, you know, going through the character once again, bringing out all the little points that are just awesome about Weiss. I mean, like I said, I love Weiss. I think that she's probably the best character right now in RWBY, though not my favorite. So, like and favorite if you've enjoyed, subscribe, of course, if you feel inclined to. Check out my channel. There's probably going to be a link to it down in the description where you can check out some more videos that I've done. I do a lot of them to entertain you guys. And until next time, be a good person, tip your waitresses, keep moving forward, and I'll see you guys next time I'm out there in YouTube land. Yeah!